All right, welcome back to The Explainer. If you've been following along, you've been on a fantastic journey as a leader, from building self-awareness to really digging into what motivates your people. And now, we're at the exciting part, turning all that great teamwork into powerful results. So let's dive into Chapter 4 of Kim Scott's Radical Candor, How to Drive Results Collaboratively.
So let's kick things off with a question that probably keeps a lot of leaders up at night. How do you actually get stuff done without crushing your team's spirit, their trust, and their creativity along the way? It's a real tension, isn't it?
You know the two extremes, right? On one side, you have that old-school command and control style, where the boss just dictates everything. Yeah, things might get done, but you risk your team just checking out. On the other side, you have the guide and empower approach, which is all about fostering ownership. But here's the thing. It's a false choice. You don't have to pick one. There's a much better way.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about why the goal is collaboration, not control. Then, we're going to look at a super practical system called the Get Stuff Done wheel. After that, we'll dive into a crucial skill, how to argue, then commit. We'll wrap up by finding that perfect balance between empowerment and accountability. And then I'll leave you with a leadership challenge you can try this week. All right, let's jump in. Okay, first things first, this all starts with a huge mindset shift. It's about moving away from that outdated idea that a boss's job is just to stand at the top of a hill and yell orders down to everyone else.
And Kim Scott herself puts it perfectly. She says it's not enough to be a caring and honest boss. You must deliver results through collaboration, not control. That's the whole ball game right there.
And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Radically candor leaders aren't dictators. They're more like guides. Their job is to create alignment and then empower their people to act like owners of the work.
So if your job is to build the system, not dictate the actions, how do you actually do that? Well, this is where Scott gives us something incredibly practical, the Get Stuff Done wheel, or GSD for short. Okay, here's the whole thing, all 7 steps laid out. And the first thing you'll probably notice is that this isn't some rigid one-and-done checklist. It's a cycle, right? It's a continuous loop where every step, from listening all the way to learning, has a very clear action and purpose. It's a machine for turning ideas into reality.
And this really shows you that flow in action. See how it starts? You're not starting with your ideas. You're starting by listening to everyone else's. Then you work together to clarify those ideas. You debate them to make them even better, and only then do you get to the action parts. Decide, persuade, execute, and finally, learn from the whole thing. Now, out of all of these steps, there is one, just one, that teams almost always try to skip. Why? Because it can feel a little, well, uncomfortable. And that step is debate. But it's also the most critical step for getting to the best ideas.
As Kim Scott says, healthy debate is how smart teams reach clarity. Silence is not alignment. It's such a powerful idea. If your team is silent, it doesn't mean they're aligned. It probably just means they're not talking.
So how do you actually make this happen? Well, you have to intentionally create space for it. You can literally ask, okay, what's the strongest argument against this idea? And when someone pushes back, you thank them for it. You want to establish an obligation to dissent. And then when the decision is finally made, you make it super transparent why you chose that path.
Okay, so this is huge. Encouraging all this debate and pushing decisions down to your team, that's not a free-for-all, right? It's not chaos. It has to be balanced with crystal clear accountability. This is where the magic happens.
And this is where Scott introduces this really cool concept of mutual ownership. Think of it like a deal. Your side of the deal is to empower your team to make the call. Their side is to own the result of that call, good or bad. You hold them accountable, but with care, not with fear.
And this next quote, wow, this really brings it all home. Guidance without accountability is empathy without impact. It's just so true, right? Empathy is great, but if it's not tied to results, it's not actually helping anyone.
All right, let's get our hands dirty and make this super practical. I've got a simple little challenge for you, an audit you can run this week to see where your team's own process might be a little leaky.
It's super simple, just 3 steps. First, just pick one project you're working on right now. Second, walk it through those 7 GSD steps. Be honest. Ask yourselves, did we actually listen? Was there a real debate? Who made the final call? And then third, pinpoint the one stage your team usually skips over.
And that's it. Your only goal for this week is to fix that one thing. That's your whole job. If your team never debates, your job is to start a debate. If decisions are always fuzzy, your job is to bring clarity. It's these small fixes that, trust me, lead to huge results down the line. Because ultimately, this is what radical candor is all about. It's not just about being nice, and it's not just about challenging people. It's about combining that human connection, that love, with logic and execution. It's about building clarity so your team can go out and execute boldly.
So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this one thought to chew on. To really start driving results collaboratively, what's one important debate that you need to start with your team this week?